What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You dead meat!
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, your horror safe haven. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm James. And we're married and we like to get scared together.
Yes, we do. Hey, guess what,
Guess
everyone?
fucking what?
The strike's over.
Strike's over.
We did it.
Yeah.
I'm not on strike anymore.
Yeah.
We can talk about whatever we want. It still feels weird. I still
know.
feel like I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can talk about any movie we want, and it feels so good for the Patreon this month. If you're interested in hearing just all of our opinions, just our whirlwind opinions on all of the movies we've watched during the strike that we just couldn't talk about, we're going to do a Patreon episode of the podcast where we do kind of a lightning round of like not even just horror movies.
Yeah, just
of
every
movies
movie we've
went
watched in the past
to go
4 months.
see
Yep.
that we...
New ones, old ones, whatever.
Yeah,
Just any
well,
movies we've seen.
everything.
Gressel can get in on it.
We got Oppenheimer. We got Barbie. We got Killers of the Flower Moon. We got
Joyride.
Joyride. We did watch Joyride. We got the Little Mermaid live action that I
Oh, you
watched
did that. I
on an
didn't do that.
airplane. We got I don't know, all kinds of stuff.
And then all the horror movies.
And
too.
then all the various horror movies. We could talk about maybe Five Nights at Freddy's a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we
Got-
watched that.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yes. So that'll be on the Patreon. I'm trying to think of what else. It feels so weird to just be able to talk about whatever the fuck I want now. Cool stuff I can talk about now that the strike isn't happening. I technically was in The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. I did background voices for it. So if you keep your ears peeled, you might hear me in the background of various scenes. Probably not. The whole point of background voices is so they
Yeah.
kind of blend in and they're not supposed to be standout. But it was so much fun. It's called the terminology is being in the loop group for a show or movie, and loop group is just all the background audio in like a restaurant or a party or whatever. And Mike Flanagan was very cool in asking me to come do it because he knows I do voice stuff, and he was like, have I got the job for you? Come scream into these microphones and act like you're dying in various ways. And we haven't gotten the chance to watch the show yet. I've seen a ton of it out of context and it looks fucking crazy. I just remember doing lots of audio for various New Year's parties, and there's like some hospital stuff, and I don't know. It was a lot of fun. That was my first time doing anything like loop group, which was a cool experience.
Was that a SAG thing?
It was, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was SAG. Yeah, that's
Yeah, Gressel's like,
Louis
yes,
Gressel
very much
nodding.
so.
Yeah, Loop Group is covered by
Well, I knew
SAG.
it was exclusive.
Loop Group is also a very exclusive little niche to get into, which is also why it was very cool of Mike to ask me to come join the Loop
Yeah, you
Group
gave me a little golden ticket there.
because Loop Group is like they are their own little groups of people that you hire to do it. Each individual person isn't like cast for it. You hire the Loop Group.
Mm-hmm.
You contact like whoever the leader of that Loop Group is, and they bring on all their people. And so often Loop Groups, and I learned this doing this, they're very skeptical of new people. And this will happen is where someone's like, hey, I've got a friend or whatever. Can they come do background voices in the Loop Group for this specific thing? And so everyone's kind of on their guard for the new person, right? And I was very aware of this going in. And shout out to voice actor Scott White. You might know him as the voice of Crash Bandicoot, among other things. But he and I were the first people to show up, and he immediately, I told him what was up. I was like, I've never done this before. I'm the friend hire. I'm going to do my best. I'm just excited to be here. And he was super sweet. He like immediately took me under his wing and like made me feel comfortable and kind of explained this is like what the process is going to be. So I would have totally floundered if he was not there to like just be a very kind shepherd through the process. So anyway, that was my fun little Loop Group experience that I couldn't talk about, and it sucked.
Yeah. And now that the strike is over, we can do Horror Survivor.
We can do Horror Survivor. I mean, I have to put it together.
Mm-hmm. But we'll work on that. And then that guarantees that we will for sure have another Horror Royal Rumble in January.
I already started.
Chelsea started working on the characters.
I downloaded the new WWE game. I just have to say, because this was the issue I had with the 2022 game, and I am making the characters in the new 2023 game, but the same problem I had with 2K22, I don't know why they don't fix this or change it, but in the older versions of the game, there were options to mirror everyone's face. So you edit one eye and the same edits are happening on the other eye, or you can at least copy and paste them. That does not fucking exist in this version. I don't understand.
You just have to remember the sliders.
I literally take pictures of the screen with my phone of one eyeball's slider numbers and then go in and do, if there is a...
Well, you know what? Because you can do them individually, you could do Toxic Avenger maybe.
But you could do them individually anyway, beforehand.
Okay, well.
There was that option, but there was also the option to copy paste.
Yeah, that's such a weird thing to have.
If anyone knows of a if I'm missing something, please tell me, because it is making it all take so much longer than it should. But I don't want to go back to 2K19 because there are so many fun new outfits and stuff in this newer one that are really exciting.
I want to explore this new one.
And new, more updated wrestler entrances.
Hopefully we can still hack it to have males and females together in a rumble.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully someone's come up. I didn't even think of that. Let's look into that.
Research,
if there's a mod for that. Because if there's not, I don't know how to make a mod. I rely on the labor of others to do that. I have no idea. So...
yeah, obviously kill counts will be covering probably more stuff that you're familiar with. And also we're going to mention it at the end, but I'll just throw out a mention right now. The day that you're listening to this, if it's the first day, there's another podcast with me out right after this one's over. Scream Dreams, me and Catherine Corcoran and Barbara Crampton
yes,
are doing, and Chelsea's a guest on a future episode.
I am a guest on one of the episodes. It's so fun. It's the cutest little, I showed up and they've got a whole crew. It's so good.
And it's a skeleton crew. We got two people running it, Addison and Tom.
That's twice as many as we have.
That's true. They have a Gressel and then another person.
Yeah. But it's so cool. It's all about dreams and nightmares and kind of the subconscious mind and how that influences creatives.
And the guest in the first episode is Josh Rubin. Very great guy, and we've already recorded 10 of them.
Yeah,
we have 10 in the bag.
Yeah, you guys are really good at backlogging.
We do 3 in a day, which leaves me exhausted.
It does. Yeah, he always naps after.
I know. As soon as I get home from it, I always just crash because it's fun, but it's 3 hours straight of being on and talking to people, but yeah. It's fun. So tune into Screen Dreams as soon as you're done listening to this podcast.
What's the little skeleton name?
Skelly Sam.
Skelly Sam. That's right.
Their little mascot.
Who named it? I thought Barbara.
I think Catherine.
Oh, it's Catherine. I was gonna guess Barbara named
Catherine.
it.
Once again, I have the luxury of going on a podcast where I don't do shit but sit down and talk. Catherine kills it.
The funniest thing was watching you do the podcast intro and seeming to you were like a baby giraffe a little bit, because normally I'm the one who's kind of leading the conversation and introductions on the podcast, and for that episode I was a guest just sitting there waiting for you to
normally Catherine does it for us, and Catherine came up with segments, the sidebar with Barbara Crampton.
I got to play a game. Catherine and Barbara were so excited to have me play a game, and let me tell you, I was excited as well.
Yeah, so. Catherine is killing it with that podcast, so make sure you tune in. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's really good.
But for our podcast, we're going to talk about When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks.
Fucking air horns, dude.
Yeah.
This movie rules.
It's a heater for sure. This movie is gruesome. Holy fuck.
Yo, if you are worried about animals or kids getting hurt, don't watch this movie.
Not a movie for you. This is both of them.
If you don't like body horror and pus, don't watch this movie.
Not a good movie to eat food during, which we both did.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget what I had tortellini and chicken meatballs. It was good. It was new,
Yeah, this is very, as much as what's going on in this movie, and we kind of learned this at the beginning, so it's not super spoilery. We've got some weird kind of supernatural business going on here, but it is very grounded, realistic violence and gore and just effects in general. It's something else. It's definitely up there for best of 2023, I think.
Absolutely, 100%. It is a Argentinian film, and it is directed by Damien Rugna.
Yeah. He did Terrified.
He did Terrified.
Not Terrifier.
Not Terrifier.
Terrified.
Which I haven't seen. I've heard good things.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but from what it sounds like, this is only his second movie after Terrified. I'm sure he did like shorts and stuff. Let me see. He's got some on his filmography, but Terrified is the only link thing. And he did a segment in Satanic Hispanics, which I've also heard is good.
It was really good. Specifically, Joe Lynch told us that was good.
Oh, yeah. Friend of the show. Who also did Suitable Flesh, which we can talk about. That also rules.
Yeah,
go watch
Suitable
that.
Flesh is
great.
great.
I just want to be like, go watch all the movies. Yeah, When Evil Lurks is very, oh, God, it's great. It's possession as infection and how dumb people are when it comes to infections and catastrophes.
Yes.
Which, as we all know, is a very true-to-life thing to happen. At one point, probably 20, 25 minutes into this thing, both of us had the same thought. And we were like...
Hot take incoming.
Yeah, this is what the sadness should have been, or at least this is what I wanted the sadness to be.
This movie, it's not that I necessarily think that this is what the sadness wanted to be.
No, I don't think it wanted to be.
It's more just, I think there are certain things that happen in this where both of our reaction to it was so strong in like such genuine horror at what we were watching.
Yelling, mouth agape,
we're up,
looking at each other.
Couch, just like a just reactive, just totally uncontrolled. Holy fuck! At what we're watching on the screen.
I can verify.
Oh, you heard us?
Could you hear us yesterday? Okay.
I always know when it's like, oh, they enjoyed that.
Yeah. There's just some crazy happening.
From upstairs, just I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, this one sounds fucked up.
Yeah. Those kind of moments, and there's one in particular in this, I think that is what the sadness wanted, I think.
Those reactions.
Yes. But the problem is... And if you like the sadness, that's
cool.
totally
It's,
fine.
It's a specific flavor of horror.
It's a style, and who knows if I'm right in thinking that this is maybe what the creator or the people behind that movie wanted to accomplish. But the sadness is up here the entire time. It's just at an there's no ebb and flow to the level of craziness that you're seeing on the screen versus When Evil Lurks there is a buildup and a tension, and it's a bit of a slow burn at first.
Yeah, for like 15 minutes. I was like, what are we... I think we had to like pause at 10 minutes into like...
orient ourselves in the world.
Or I think something came up and we had to do... I think I got like a text from someone.
Sure.
Yeah, so 10 minutes in, I paused. I was like, oh, I hope we get into this thing. Yeah. And then like 10 minutes after that, it was like, oh, I'm pretty interested in this. And then like 15 minutes after that, it was all in, baby.
Yeah. So this just has the tension and the character build where you get to know the people in the story so that when stuff happens, it is a genuinely horrifying moment versus the sadness. You don't get much time to get to know anyone, and it's just right off the bat just a parade of the most disgusting shit you've ever seen, but it doesn't really...
And I don't think we've talked about the sadness on this show, so you might be like, what the fuck are they talking about? The sadness came out last year. It was Taiwanese, and going into it, all we heard was like, it's the craziest movie.
Yeah. You gotta watch it. Oh my God.
And it is intense.
Sure, yeah. If you list the stuff that happens in it, you might be like, damn, that is one of the craziest.
It's like a zombie movie.
That's one of the craziest movies.
Yeah,
but
like I don't think they're zombies. They're infected people. And
it's like a rage virus.
It's basically a rage thing where you lose all empathy.
A graphic novel.
That's right.
I think, yes.
Yeah, and it's just people running around just doing the most heinous shit to each other and smiling and laughing. It's very sadistic.
Yeah.
And like, again, I mean, we were bored with it. when we figured out that that's what it was going to be the whole time. I guess I respect it on a certain level of like going there, but yes, this is the type of movie I prefer, where it's these giant shocking movies. This movie pulls no punches, will horrify you with plenty of horrendous imagery, but it gives you time to like care about that stuff.
Similarly, I think why a movie like Hereditary was so successful in terms of everyone remembering one specific thing from it, and it being one of the most genuinely horrifying scenes in anything I'd seen up to that point, with the sister in the car and the telephone. Like we all know it, but it's because that movie again took the time to build to it, and it just felt like a series of dominoes getting ready to be pushed over until something fucked up happens, and that's kind of.
But this has like multiple moments of it. I do think there's a section maybe halfway through or in the second half where like you get a lot of exposition.
There's some exposition dump in this that we had to pause and rewind because we were confused. And I also think the translation
might be a little off. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's Spanish. And as someone who like tries to lean on the little bit of Spanish I know, it's also it's Argentinian, so they have an accent that I'm not familiar with, where like especially the brothers I was reading, a lot of other people said this too, like they had a hard time picking up because they're just dropping consonants, especially at the end of words. They're like their vowels are just going into each other, and I'm like, dude, on a intellectual level, I know you're speaking a language that I know words from, but fuck, I can't hear them in there.
I wonder what kind of accent they have, because accents in your own native language, in as much as like this is not I guess like you can use an accent as like a character device. Like you give someone an accent like this, you think they're kind of stereotypically maybe a little stupid, or like country. They're not Cockney. They're not big British, city folk, So I'm wondering
class. It's like a class.
Yeah. I mean, more class, I guess. I'm wondering what kind of traits or characteristics are associated with their
because they seem like ranchers, but also so it's about two brothers and their attempts to deal with this infection that they find, and spoiler, their attempts don't go well.
They do bad. Like this movie's just a series of failures to deal.
I know early on I was like, I'm rooting for these brothers, and then like halfway through I'm like, no, they're fucked, dude.
They're just too.
And I saw people complaining. They're like,
no, that's why this movie's good.
Yeah, that they're like, there are rules given and they don't listen to them. And like,
have you lived on this planet?
Yeah,
especially the last few years, because when you give people a simple set of rules to follow, we don't do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
especially
just how
during
people
some
are.
of these heat of the moment, high intensity situations near the end, where a lot of people specifically cited one thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not always going to be a rational actor. You're not.
And
Did you guys ever do that thing in elementary school where it's like read all the instructions before, and then it's like get up and wave around and go?
But at the end it said don't do
make sure to read
any of this.
Yeah.
It's,
make sure to read all the instructions first.
Yes. Yeah, that's like the first one. Then it's all like crazy shit, and then it's like
if you get to this point,
disregard.
Don't do steps 2 through what?
Yeah.
But of course, you want to anyway, because it's more fun if everyone else is just not following directions and getting up and being silly. I'm in elementary school. I'm just going to pretend I didn't actually read the thing to not tell me.
But then the teacher will think that you're dumb.
And
I know you, and I know school age you wanted to impress the teacher.
Yeah.
So I don't buy that. I don't buy that one bit. Chelsea sat in her little chair there.
It's less about the teacher and more about the smart kids will think you're very dumb.
Yeah, right. You also got to impress those other smart kids. You got to show you're one of them.
Oh, there was a really good interview on Polygon with the director of this movie too, about what this movie means to him and what it's about. And I thought it was really interesting. And we'll get kind of more into that as we go through the plot. We head into spoiler town, but it's not about what you think it is. I mean, it kind of is, but also the headline, I was like, what? Like, how did I miss this kind of not allegory, but how did I miss that this is what he was kind of grappling with in this? It's very fascinating. Any guesses what you think it might be about? Or what this, not what it's about, but what this director says really lived with him as he was writing this story and what kind of formed the basis of what this movie became.
Lactose intolerance.
No.
Okay. I'm all out of guesses. All right, Spoilerville.
Spoilerville.
Go watch it though. It's on Shudder.
It's very good, yeah.
It's not long. It's an hour 40. Sometimes you expect these movies to be like longer when it's I don't know, foreign. I don't know. But this one is an hour 40 and fucking once it gets into moving, it's
give it the first 10 minutes and then you're off to the races, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to set a mood and a tone.
The first shot is one of those unbroken tracking shots, so at least it's like, here we're gonna slow burn, but in the meantime, enjoy this flowy camera. That's always nice.
Beautiful sunrises and stuff in this movie.
Yeah,
we're kind of in like rural Argentina. We hear some gunshots near this ranch where two brothers live,
or a farm or a ranch. They got animals. They got land. Whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
But the gunshots are not on their land. It's adjacent to them in a forest. So
yeah.
They when dawn comes, they go to check it out and they find half a body in the woods.
Yeah, they see there's just the bottom half of a guy. There's part of a hand that's been left over, and they're thinking maybe a puma did it. But when they look at the body, they're like, ooh, it looks like he was cut in half with something sharp. So probably not an animal. Something's weird.
Also, fuck you, Lion King, for forever fucking me up because of Pumbaa. When I hear Puma, I think it's a pig. And I always have to make the mental adjustment of like, no, that's a cat.
Oh, Puma, I think of like the shoes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would make more
cat.
sense.
Oh, nimbly bimbly.
That's a cat. You forgot about cats.
You forgot about cats. Forgot about pumas. They also find these kind of I think it's like a box with these gold. It looks like a puzzle or something.
Yeah, it looks like an escape room puzzle, or I don't know, like a late Hellraiser sequel knockoff Leviathan tool. What's it?
Lament configuration.
Lament configuration.
Yeah.
Leviathan's in those sequels.
Yeah,
huh?
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks
gold tools.
It looks like some like intricate puzzle or something, or it's something that would be in a Lovecraftian villain's office, you know, or he's like, I've been messing, like it is like a Hellraiser thing, where it's like, I've been toying with this contraption, like Jeffrey Combs in Onyx.
Or Jeffrey Combs in most things.
Jeffrey Combs in most things, yeah.
Oh yeah, that wasn't struck, but Onyx the Fortuitous is also fun.
I just want
to talk about all the movies.
It's so fucking cute, you guys, and we're not just saying that because I
friends
love
with
Andrew Bowser. It's genuinely, I can't stop thinking about it. It's just a really sweet little movie.
More Barbara Crampton.
And it has Barbara in it, of course.
So amidst all this stuff, the people watching this are like, wait, what movie are you talking about?
What are we talking? Sorry. Look, the strike's over. It's like uncorking a barrel. I'm full of thoughts.
Did you see my tweet explosion this morning?
I did.
I was late to my workout for that. Orion was like, hey, I'm here. I'm like, hold on. I'm busy.
I gotta talk about movies. I've got opinions. I gotta tell Twitter about movies. It's important.
Amidst all this stuff, they also find a map to their the home of Maria Elena Gomez, who is an older lady living on the property of their neighbor.
Yes, and that's where this person who was murdered in the woods was supposedly headed, or not in the woods, just out in the brush. I don't know. That's where this dude was going.
Yeah.
She confirms she was waiting for this person to show up to kill her son.
Yes, she's like, I invited him here to kill my son. I invited him here to kill my son.
Yeah. So immediately
Uriel.
the brothers don't seem to be, they're confused, but not as confused or horrified as you'd think. So this world is already weird. Mm-hmm. Like this is maybe not commonplace, but it's something that you accept happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And the son's name is Uriel, and she kind of undersells it, I think, because we see him and he's gross, man. He looks like the guy in Seven who dies eating himself to death. Doesn't he eat like baked beans or something? It's something really gross.
He looks
it's
like
that, but worse.
He looks like those flood sacks in Halo that when you shoot them, they explode, and a bunch of little flood babies come out.
It's just
gross.
A
big old pussy, amazing prosthetics.
Yes,
here.
the prosthetics
Looks
on
great.
this guy are really good, but
disgusting.
Good Lord, it's so gross. He's got a poopy diaper. Like, there's a lot happening. He's nasty.
He's rotten. They say
yes,
he is a rotten.
They call
he's
him a rotten.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's all bloated, and they say he's possessed. So
yeah.
They
kind of alternate between calling these people rotten and possessed.
Yeah, rotten is a noun for them.
Yeah.
As opposed to an adjective. They are rottens.
Yeah.
Or at least it is a rotten. And then later you find a rotten is a evil, unborn entity.
Yes.
That is still able to affect those around them, but they are waiting to be born.
They're residing inside of a human host, I think.
Yes.
Pretty
So
much.
this is the human host.
The human host.
But it will infect other people nearby.
Right.
And animals.
Yeah. Hey, want to talk to you about our sponsor this week, Fume. Fume is a nifty little diffusive device that you can breathe all kinds of delicious scents and flavors through. I personally don't really have any bad habits that something like Fume may help me to break, but I find the overall experience to be genuinely pleasant anyways. Fume is made of wood and metal and has a nice heft to it. There's like a magnet and clicky bits in there that are really fun to play with and move around. I've got my Fume right here. I don't know if you can like hear that little clicky thing when you spin it. The flavor I'm really feeling right now is the maple pepper. It's super warm and cozy and full feeling. It's perfect for the colder weather. It tastes like being able to eat a holiday scent that you'd normally get in like a candle or something. Just one of those forbidden sorts of treats. If you've got a hand-to-mouth habit you're itching to break, Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Head to tryfume.com and use code DEADMEAT to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use code DEADMEAT to save an additional 10% off your order today. Our next sponsor this week is Uncommon Goods. I don't know how it's already halfway through November, but if you're like me, you're already thinking about holiday presents. If you've got people in your life that are always hard to shop for, I think we all know someone, Uncommon Goods is here to make your holiday shopping stress-free. They search the globe high and low for the most remarkable and truly unique gifts that'll make everyone on your list happy. I just pulled up Uncommon Goods to see if there's anything I'm thinking of getting this year for someone, and oh boy, did I go down a rabbit hole. They have these little murder mysteries in a box that come with clues and a story, and I honestly just kind of want to buy one for myself. They've also got this really great gift idea that I do think I'm gonna get someone, an Unlock the Wine escape room game. You have to sleuth out a combination to a lock that's on a cage where a bottle of wine is locked inside. It's such a cool, cute idea. When you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $2.5 million to date. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/deadmeat. That's uncommongoods.com/deadmeat for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Our last sponsor this week is MeUndies. Cozy up in style this fall with the unmatched comfort of MeUndies. MeUndies has soft, breathable underwear that is so comfy and comes in so many cute designs. Whether you're looking to feel more comfortable at work or you're posted up on the couch for a horror movie marathon, MeUndies is here to keep you comfy. I got the most exciting pair of underwear from MeUndies. Quick backstory, I absolutely love Scar from The Lion King. He's my favorite Disney character, and I buy any and all merch of him because he's a bit harder to find. And MeUndies has underwear with him on it. You can barely find shirts with Scar on it, let alone women's underwear of all things. It's amazing. But MeUndies isn't just about underwear. Explore the lounge collection featuring cozy joggers, hoodies, onesies, and more. Their fabrics are light and breathable to help regulate your body temperature so you stay cool and comfy. They use sustainably sourced materials, and if you're not happy with your first pair of undies, it's on MeUndies. To get 25% off your first order plus free shipping, go to MeUndies.com/deadmeat. That's MeUndies.com/deadmeat for 25% off plus free shipping. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in. His mom says that she and her other son, who's a younger boy, tried praying for Uriel. That didn't work.
It's been going on for a year, too.
That's the thing is, she says it's been a year and they didn't tell anyone because they were afraid of being kicked off their land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't own this land. They're on the land of this guy named Ruiz.
Yeah.
Who is just like...
This guy's a mess, man. Ruiz is a mess.
He seems better off, like more well off. His house is fancy.
Yeah.
The dinner scenes with his wife.
He's a cranky landlord.
Yeah. He's like he seems like almost maybe not aristocracy, but
he's a landowner. He's an entitled landowner.
Mm-hmm, like gentry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he and so even in these initial conversations, they're like, you can't shoot him. They know that. These characters know.
They know because apparently, again, this is kind of neat the way the movie does this. It kind of demonstrates that there is this is an established phenomena already in the world of the movie.
Yeah, later they mention this usually happens in cities, which is interesting.
Yeah.
The guy who was on his way there but got killed in the forest is a cleaner, like basically almost an exorcist. But that's the thing is, this movie, they're saying it's possessed. It seems to be a demon, but there's no religious elements to it. There are no religious elements to it.
That they kind of discuss that later. They say a couple times the time of churches is over.
Yeah.
And God is dead. Mm-hmm. And because we meet someone later who ran a church and she basically says, yeah, we were total scammers. And then this happened and we felt like we were maybe being punished as a result of our actions. But yeah, religion.
So it's a possession movie without like priests or the church coming to save you. There is this force, cleaners, and we don't know exactly how they clean, but they have a methodology of taking care of this thing.
Specifically, the director says it's intentional that the characters in this can't and don't seek help from religious figures. He says, this is a quote from him. He says, "I have no religion and I hate religion as a business. I love religion as faith or for helping people, but not as business." So that's just not part of this movie. Yeah.
They do try to go to the police for help, but the police are like, not my problem.
And apparently they knew about it.
Yeah, they were told a year ago
about it, and they just kept it hush hush. And this is getting into the kind of core thesis of the movie, and what the director's really getting at is when you need to rely on bureaucratic solutions to save you, that is a terrifying thing, because the laziness of the system,
just apathy,
and the apathy, the corruption, the fact that these systems are not in place to help individual people, it's to preserve a status quo and an order. That's kind of I would say, one half of the horror of this, and the other half is the helplessness of having to rely on other people and absolutely not being able to count on anyone to, like we were talking about earlier, be a rational actor or have your best interests at heart, and what people do in a crisis, and how people act when they're afraid.
Yeah.
And the selfish ways that people behave in times of crisis. And he also says, I guess I'll just talk about it now, that this movie, originally, the kind of seed of this movie came from when he learned about the use of pesticides in Argentina.
I did see that. Okay.
He said he was inspired by news stories about the use of pesticides in rural areas in Argentina and how often that would affect the children of the communities that this was happening in, and no one gave a shit or did anything about it because it's poor people, it's laborers, it's either these kids, it's the death or illness of people and children versus, I mean, profit, right? That's what it always is. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think of even like another case I think of is like Chevron in South America. And like there have been numerous lawsuits on behalf of the indigenous people there against Chevron for like just generations of people having cancer and other diseases based on all the industry going. And that's, you know, the same thing here. And it is interesting that he specifically mentions the effects on children, because this movie does kind of end up being about children.
Yeah.
And it feels almost like a revenge movie from the point of view of kids, which that kind of made me think of the movie Who Can Kill a Child, which we talked about a long time ago. Again, going back to the creepy kids two-parter. I wasn't expecting to talk about that again this week, but here we are. And that's a Spanish horror movie from the 70s. And it kind of, if I'm remembering correctly, I watched it in college. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But if I'm remembering correctly, a lot of that's kind of dealing with the fallout of the Spanish Civil War and the kind of repercussions of that war on youth and kids and like the future generations that came after that war, and just, it's generational trauma type stuff. But that's also kind of like it's a village of creepy kids, and it's kind of like a weird child revenge type plot. Yeah. I definitely thought of that.
There's a lot of generational trauma stuff going on here. You got, because I mean, you have generations of families being affected by this. And then I saw someone say online, like, it very much does have to do with generational trauma, because it ends up in a school where things are, you know, passed on. Like it's rooted in a school at the end.
Yeah. I mean, you even think there's so many scenes where adults are arguing in front of kids, or adults are fighting in front of kids. In this, kids are just passive witnesses to the most fucked up shit going on in this movie until they just directly become part of it in very gruesome ways. We're getting there.
So they go and get Ruiz, the guy who owns the land, and they show him like, hey, you got this rotten on your land. Yeah,
because also what'll happen is when a rotten, like, what basically incubates. I'm also realizing I think that's why there's pictures of butterflies all over the school at the end, because it is kind of like a cocoon that a horrible butterfly is going to emerge from eventually.
Yeah, so Ruiz wants to get, his solution is, let's just get it out of here.
Yes, his solution is
drive
not,
it 2 or 3 miles away.
Let's find another cleaner. It's no, and which is realistic. I feel like it's like not my problem. We're just gonna drive him somewhere in my truck, put him like in a ditch on the side of the road. It's someone else's problem.
Yeah, it won't be on my land at least. Yeah. So they fucking
feels very much like, how do we get rid of toxic waste?
Yeah, Tromaville.
Yeah, Tromaville, exactly.
Yeah, they're taking this body to Tromaville. They wrap it up in a sheet, and the brothers and Ruiz are trying to carry it out.
I was like, James, that's me coming out of a Cracker Barrel on a road trip. Fucking just carry me out there on a sheet.
Dude, they get it out the front door.
Biscuits and gravy.
It fucking coffin flops right through that sheet.
Coffin flop this fucker right on the ground.
How am I going to carry this naked, bloated, possessed, rotten ass with it fucking tearing up fabric?
Yeah.
Flopping all over this porch.
Yeah. What also is interesting is Ruiz thinks that the rotten was maybe purposely put here as a way for the government to get people to vacate the land.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting.
Which, like, maybe he's right. Maybe he's just a conspiracy theorist, but which also, always happens.
He could just be right.
Yeah.
Because that would be a pretty quick way to get people to vacate.
Yeah,
and
he was like,
they're
trying to get my land.
And I think that's probably why the cops maybe didn't say anything.
Yeah, when he mentioned that, I was like, oh, yeah, maybe that is true.
Yeah. We like living here. Thank you. Let me see. So, okay, this is so fucking funny. So they put this guy in the bed of the truck, right? And they think we're going to take him like 2 or 3 hours away. And it's all 3 of them sitting in this pickup truck. They are driving down like a country road, and there's a kid in the road with he has a bike next to him. They almost hit him. They swerve out of the way. This kid's just like, fuck you. Basically, middle finger. They say this asshole's going to school.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this kid. This little fucker's going to school. Again, it's very much this kind of war between children and adults in this movie. And I love it. It's present throughout the entire thing. Even the younger brother of this Uriel that they are dropping off in a ditch is a very important part of this kind of conflict between adults and kids. But yeah, they realize when they get out of the truck like 20 minutes later that, oops, when they swerve to not hit this kid, they cough and flopped him again.
They double flopped him, dude.
He's not in the truck, and they realize, oh my God, he must have just fallen out. And then they say, not our problem
Yeah, it's all right.
anymore.
It took care of itself, I guess.
Whatever. He was far enough away. It's fine. We're done here. Let's all go home.
And we go home with Ruiz instead of the brothers, which like took me aback. I was like, wait, you're not the guy we're following here.
We get to see him and his wife having like a sad dinner.
And then she's like, yo, one of our goats is possessed.
Yeah, come outside. This goat's fucked up.
Yeah, and
we have a horror movie goat.
Apparently, you can see like the goat's weird demon horns framed over Ruiz's head when he first comes out there.
I noticed that.
Okay,
yeah, them behind his head.
Because they're like, it's that goat, and I was like, what goat?
It's kind of like what happens sometimes when the framing of the podcast, the horns on that guy back there line up with your head, and it's always really funny to me. I don't know if you can get it to happen. Yeah, there. Okay, Russell's directing James. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, we got a horror movie goat. We love horror movie goats.
Love those goats.
Should be more of them.
He shoots his gun in the air. All the other goats run off.
This is a great visual.
Yeah, it's a great, because I was like, they're like, it's that goat. I was like, what goat? And they're like, it's that goat. And I was like, what fucking goat?
They all have weird little sideways pupils.
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
So he shoots his gun in the air, and all the rest of them run off, except for one goat just fucking staring at him.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, it's me. What?
And then the goat like walks up. He like points the gun at it. And his wife's like, no, you can't shoot it. You can't shoot it. But he's still pointing this gun at the goat. Like walks up to it until
puts his head on the barrel.
Yeah, he's
gun.
like, fucking do it,
dude. This goat is great. Fucking do it, bitch. I dare you to shoot me in the fucking head. It's awesome.
Yeah, and then the goat bleats, and he does it. He shoots that goat in the fucking head, right in the face.
It's nasty. I mean, we're seeing it. This isn't like, oh, it's in silhouette or we cut. No, we're just seeing this
wide
goat
shot of this
get fucking
goat
blasted in the face.
And then apparently that causes the possession to like jump to his wife, because right away she swings an axe into Ruiz's face.
It's without even blinking. She's hacking this dude's face apart. And then this is disgusting. She turns the axe on herself, and the way that this is shot and framed and edited and everything, it's just so blunt and matter of fact. And it doesn't cut away, and it's just this kind of wide profile shot of her just axing herself in the face. So
she's like kneeling on the ground, using the ground as leverage, and swinging the axe into her face repeatedly until like she's doing like weak swings because she's dying.
Yeah, she just falls over. It's really
like her last swing doesn't even make it up to her face. It's fucked up.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, all during magic hour. So good for them.
Yeah.
It's all very beautiful. But yeah, it's intense. This was a scene I saw people complain about. I know. Because their beef was that Ruiz earlier was totally like, yeah, you don't shoot the guy, we'll take him in the truck, blah, blah, blah. He went through all that effort, but then he ends up just shooting this goat. And I'm thinking, I guess, but also I'm wondering if it's just, when he's with the two brothers, his wife's not there. Mm-hmm. And I think in this moment, and earlier, the demon basically that's inside of Uriel is like, when I get out of this body, I'm coming for your wife next, and I'm going to infect her and your kid.
Yeah.
Fuck you. This thing is out to get Ruiz pretty much. And I just think having his wife there, she's screaming. I think it's just, he's a human. You know what I mean?
I don't, I hesitate to get too stereotypical, but I wonder if there is like a machismo element here.
I need to protect the homestead, kind of.
Because a lot of the other parts of this movie are guys, including the brothers, really not listening to the women telling them what to do and how to fix this.
Yeah, as if this is like a specific cultural thing that maybe the director of this movie in general is kind of playing with or commenting on. Or
Yeah,
I mean,
in that case, it would be like my wife's here, I have to protect her. I'm going to shoot this goat.
I also just think in general, maybe a more like rural kind of like homestead-ish. There's kind of this, I built this myself with my own hands kind of mentality.
Yeah, no demon goat's going to take this away from me. And also, he might not have I think the goat bleeding is what
scared
him.
him,
Yeah,
maybe.
you know? He seemed to hesitate, and then the goat was like, "Oh, I know we'll do it."
Yeah. Anyway, that's the point, though. The people in this are not rational actors. Like, change setting, whatever. You're gonna be a totally different person. You're technically. I think I was taking a voice acting class like a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about how, when you're voicing a character, you have to keep in mind the very human trait that you are a different person for every single person you are around. No one person knows the same version of you as another person. So you're always slightly different in different settings with different people. I think that's what I kind of read from this anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, so back with the brothers, or Pedro and Jaime, by the way, or Jimmy. They're at home, and Uriel's little brother, Eduardo, shows up at their door, and he's like, yo, I saw Ruiz is dead. Yeah, Ruiz's wife is dead.
Gone.
My mom's gone. This is all fucked.
Can I stay here, have some ice cream?
Do you guys have any games?
Yeah, any games on your phone? Also, don't use electric lights. That's
a rule.
That's a rule. There's 7 of them. So what do we have so far?
When Grandma said there are 7 rules you have to follow, I was like,
Grandma's
7?
like, there are 7 rules.
There are 7 rules to survive when evil lurks.
So what do we got? You can't shoot them. You can't have electric lights.
Nope.
I'm trying to think if we can remember all the other ones.
You can't hurt them.
Oh, don't be around animals.
Animals are very. You can't say their names, like demon names.
Oh yeah, don't say the names of demons.
You can't.
Don't have stuff
that touch
that's
them.
like been around the possessed.
Any clothes you were wearing,
can't be afraid
of
dying.
That's the last one we learned. That's the 7th.
That's the 7th.
You get 6.
What's the
7th
one?
I said them.
What was it?
You can't hurt them, which seems. I mean, I guess gunpowder's a different thing.
Yeah.
But you would think that the gunpowder thing would go along with don't hurt them, but
yeah,
they're real sticklers about the gunpowder.
But that's the 7 rules. And there's a little song, and it's not a very good song.
It's not a good song.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, next day.
No, this kid, he's at their door. He's like, can I stay? And they're like, you know, stay in the stables.
Go stay in the barn.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
And then they like leave him. And I was like, yo, they left that kid in that barn. He comes back in the end.
Yeah.
And what he did, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they just, because they leave the next day to go into town.
All right, bye.
I was like, they just left that kid in the barn?
I kind of, and maybe I'm wrong here. If someone wants to correct me, please do. I got the sense that maybe the kid, his mom, Maria Elena, and Uriel, I think they might be supposed to be indigenous South Americans, because the way Ruiz talks to them, he talks about like your kind, like you bring disease. He talks about them like they are,
and they were afraid to tell him about Uriel because they didn't want to like get kicked off his land. It seemed like they were there, maybe, I don't know,
because I mean
below board, I don't know.
Just like in America, there is very much that tension in South America between like indigenous South Americans and like South Americans with like, I mean, Spanish and otherwise other lineage,
I guess. Yeah.
Colonial lineage, I guess.
So they decide, because of this news, sounds like things are getting bad, Jaime is going to go get their mom, and Pedro is going to go get his sons and ex-wife, who turns out she has a new husband, and they have a little girl. They have
a daughter together.
Yeah.
So Pedro, our main character, well, there's 2 brothers. He's one of the brothers. He has an ex-wife with whom he had 2 boys. She is now married to this other guy, and they have a little girl.
Yeah.
just recapping it because there's a lot of characters that are about to come into play.
And yeah, they don't spell it out beforehand. You just kind of got to pick it up.
It's very chaotic, and you eventually put the pieces together.
But yeah, he gets to his ex's house and starts stripping his clothes off and is like, I need new clothes.
I need to burn my clothes on the
street.
These are
evil, and we have to get out of here. So they're, judging him hard, his ex and her new husband. At first you're like, oh, why are you judging him? And then it's like, well, one, it does seem a little crazy. Although at this point I'm like, how much do they know about Rottens?
They probably, but because that's the thing is they probably do, but it's a thing where you just don't assume it would ever happen by you. I'm trying to think of like,
because they say it happens in the cities.
I'm trying to think of something comparable. Like, it'd be like if someone showed up at our house and was like, I just got exposed to like some very like rare disease that exists, and you have an idea of what to do maybe if you're exposed, but like you would think there's no fucking way, right? Your immediate response would be like, oh, come on.
Well, the other thing is that it's revealed, I don't think here, but gradually throughout the film, that Pedro tried to kill himself previously, and
maybe the kids.
I think kill the kids, or at least the older one, because the older son, Jair, is autistic.
Jair's nonverbal. He does vocalize quite a bit. It sounds like he is incontinent, like he needs diapers and stuff.
Yeah.
So, he's very he has to be.
And you get the sense that that's an element of why the relationship fell apart, that maybe Pedro couldn't handle that.
Yeah.
And tried to, kill himself and this kid.
Yeah.
So gradually you learn like, oh, this guy.
He's had a rough go of it. I think.
And he hasn't reacted well.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where he and his then wife have this kid and are just not prepared. They're not prepared for the reality of having a kid with autism like that.
Yeah.
Like that would be hard on any parent.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, so she has reason to think like, okay, I'm not going to fully trust what he says right away. She says you're violating the restraining order when he's there. Mm-hmm. But, he's stripping, he's burning his clothes, and they are arguing in the kitchen.
Yeah, and he's like, we gotta go, we gotta pack up the car. He's telling his younger son, Santino, pack up all your stuff, we're gonna go out and it's gonna be really fun, totally. Kids aren't stupid, they know what's up. The little girl from the second marriage of the wife is there, and it seems they have like a dog also who's this like, I don't know, it looks like Hagrid's dog. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a big fucking
like
dog.
A bulldog?
It's like some kind of bulldog pit bull mix. It's a big like Looney Tunes looking bulldog.
Yeah, this dog's gonna
where the front torso muscles are like so big.
Yeah, it's gonna grab Sylvester by the neck and like
and swing him around. I mean, spoiler.
Well, yeah, because this kid and this dog are like sitting there watching
the little
them
girl.
argue.
Yeah, the little girl and the dog are sitting there watching the adults all argue, and the little girl just keeps like petting and playing with the dog.
And then like they look at each other. Like the girl looks at the dog. This dog bites this girl's head.
It just
nowhere
like grabs her face and neck and just starts flinging this girl
Dude,
around.
It takes her under the table and just fucking flinging her around like a fucking
This is what
toy.
we screamed at Gressel. Because you're kind of waiting for something to happen, and you think maybe it's something with the dog, but not like this.
It's so sudden.
It's just so sudden, and this girl's getting flung around like a rag doll. And what's fucked up is like, that this happens, right? With dogs.
I don't know about this. This is a possessed demon dog,
but like
swinging this kid around by the fucking head,
dog attacking a kid, and I just feel like that's a real scary thing.
I don't know. I mean, dog attacks on children, yes, those happen. This dog is. This kid is like the body weight of a squirrel to this thing.
It literally is like when you give a dog a toy and they just just fling it around.
Like, holy shit.
Oh my God.
And then the dog runs out the house with the kid in his mouth.
Yeah, and so they're all running after the dog, screaming for this kid.
Yeah, the new husband runs after him, and he tracks him down, and Pedro's like, don't fucking shoot it.
the dog.
Guy shoots the dog.
Yeah.
Pedro's like, I'm out of here. So
Yeah.
he just leaves. He just goes and gets his sons.
But not before he sees, wait a minute, the little girl, they find her miraculously and she's fine, just totally unscathed.
She runs
so
back
you're
to
like,
the mom and is like, yeah.
that is not that little girl. But
Which also ties to maybe the wife, Ruiz's wife, knew that goat was possessed, because earlier when they find the half body, they're like, Ruiz had a goat that was killed by a puma. And so maybe that was the goat.
Oh, and it came back. Dude, I
Yeah.
bet that's what happened. And she's like, that should not be.
Yeah, that goat got killed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's possible,
Yeah,
yeah.
good catch.
It was online. I
Okay,
didn't observe
okay.
that myself. Thanks, Internet.
So when the little girl comes back, she's all happy and normal. And this is such good both little kid casting and direction, because she's hugging the mom and she leans in and she's like, Dad's going to kill you.
Yeah.
The mom's like, what? And she's like, Dad is going to come back. And then boom. And you aren't quite sure what that means. And they're still hugging, and the mom's like, okay, whatever. Kids are weird, right? They say weird shit. But right after this, the new husband, he
Drives a truck right into him.
He swerves out of the way of another car and drives right up onto the front lawn and just crashes right into them. And
into
that's when
Sabrina,
Pedro's like,
the ex.
cool, we're leaving.
No, he was leaving beforehand.
Oh, was he already gone?
He was in the car with his sons, and he sees it happens while he's leaving.
Like, oh,
but because his ex is like,
he steps on the fucking gas.
he was
dude.
like, okay, if you want to hug that kid, that's fine, I'm out. And then he sees this happen
But yeah,
because he sees her die.
Yeah. I just love this little girl actor though, because and this is why I think the direction here is so fucking good. It is such a creepy thing that this little girl is delivering all these lines like they're not scary. It just sounds like she's a normal little girl and she's jumping around and being all cute, and that's what makes her so fucking creepy.
After the mom gets run over, she's like just dancing and
I think
jumping
it would
around,
be such an easy choice to maybe have this little girl act like a creepy kid, or maybe just kind of stand there all creepy, like look like a kind of horror movie kid.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he has this little girl act so normal in the midst of this scene after all this, it's just a good choice that I really liked a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so they pick up Jaime and the mom, and she's kind of not believing what's going on, but she's telling...
She's like, oh, you got my grandkids.
She's telling Santino, the younger boy, like the 7 rules, and she also mentions, she's like, you can't say their names, like Beelzebub and Azrael?
Azrael, yeah.
And one of those names,
Jair.
starts to like repeat.
Repeating, yeah.
So he's saying
but
that name.
She's like, you can't say all these demon names, and then like Belial lists all these demons, and then Santino's like, but Grandma, you just said them all.
Yeah. Come
Good
on,
job,
Grandma.
Jesus. Good job, Grandma.
Jaime takes them to a woman named Mirta,
Yes.
who turns out is an ex-cleaner. Mm-hmm. So she's familiar with all this. Her house has no electric power.
Yeah.
She's prepped for these situations.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like she's just always lived without electricity and stuff just because of her past as a cleaner. She just assumes if a demon or like the possessed are able to find me, they will. Mm-hmm. So I think she's just always lived
because
off the
she's
grid.
the one who used to be a member of the church.
Mm-hmm.
And then she talks about this experience where she was possessed but wasn't affected by it.
She says that
this was one of the confusing parts.
She thinks that certain people are able to like have these demons enter them, but the demons can't control them. Like they're immune essentially.
Mm-hmm. So she like felt it in there. She feels like it learned information
from her
and then left her.
Right.
But she also tells the story about a kid who was possessed and like puked up his mom that he had eaten.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
But you guys can stay here. And that's when she says, I became a cleaner after experiencing that as a way to like atone for, I guess, being a charlatan.
I think they were just like just grifter
Some
church.
gemstones.
Yeah, they were righteous gemstones pretty much. And so then she became a cleaner. Yeah. She immediately says, Jair is possessed. That kid's a
they're like,
demon. And
"No,
they're like,
he's
he's autistic.
autistic."
Yeah.
And I feel like that's in the past.
Oh, 100%.
People like that were considered to be possessed.
Oh,
And
yeah.
So it's like, no, lady, you're real outdated in your views.
No, there are still, to this day, if you go down the weird kind of evangelical rabbit hole of the internet, exorcisms or just kind of spiritual cleansing, like putting the spirit in you kind of shit at evangelical churches. Oh, we're still doing that to kids with autism and ADHD and other kinds of learning disability. Like that's still a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, she says that, and we're like, no, lady, that's very inappropriate. And
yeah, but she points out that she thinks because of like she can tell like
later
his
she
hands.
points out like his because Pedro's not there when she points it out that like Jair's hands are like all fucked up. She's like, no, he's possessed, but it just doesn't know what to do with his brain.
This is an interesting
it's in
thing.
His body.
It's the weird. What other movie?
It, like, can't learn how to pilot it almost.
What other movie was it where autism ended up being?
The Predator?
No. Ended up being, or was it the super where it was like it's what made? Was it The Predator? Yes, that's right.
It was one of many problems with that movie.
So this is essentially she's like the autistic brain, like the demon can't navigate it, like it can't figure out how to like pilot this body essentially. So it either can't do it or it just takes longer.
Yeah, it's like trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they stay the night there, and during the night, Sabrina shows up.
Yeah,
and
the
ex-wife, and she had called earlier, and Pedro had answered the phone and been like, what? And she's like, I know where you are. I'm coming for my kids.
I know where you are, by the way. Fucking hate you. And there's a reason I cheated on you and fucked everyone. And you gave me a fucked up kid and blah, blah. It's just the most emotional terrorism you've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's typical demon behavior, though. I feel
sure. Just
they're always
like,
doing that.
And like, I know what really is going to make you fucking hate yourself.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, I saw her die. So that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But she shows up that night. And, she goes inside.
Santino.
Yeah, Santino's with Granny, and Granny took too many sleeping pills.
Yeah, Granny's too fucked up on sleeping pills. And it's like, oh, wow, my former daughter-in-law's here.
I'm so happy to see you.
Whatever. Here you go. Take the... God damn it, Grandma.
Yeah, Grandma is very just ill-prepared for this whole situation.
Yes, she is, yeah.
Yeah, so, because Pedro was sleeping out in the car for whatever reason.
Well, because he's with Jair.
Oh yeah, who won't leave the car?
Yeah.
So he stayed out there with Jair. So he comes inside and goes upstairs, and Sabrina has Santino the kid, and she's like, "Deuces,
Bye.
I'm out." She jumps over this balcony, and like the kid's like, "Dad," like right as she does, and it's crazy.
Yep.
They run outside, and she's no longer there. So they're like, "We gotta track her down and save this kid," but because Pedro is so worried about the kid's life, apparently the demon will like feed on that. So Jaime's like, okay, I'll go get him. I guess Jaime don't care if his fucking nephew dies or whatever. But,
Yeah.
Or cares less at least.
Yeah.
So he'll go save the kid, and Pedro and what's her name? Mirta?
Is it Mirta? Yeah, Mirta.
They'll go.
They're gonna go find where they dropped off the rotten. Literally dropped off, because Mirta's like, no, it has to still be alive. It's in the middle of its birthing process where like it hasn't birthed this demon, but the demon's still able to influence people.
Yeah, and this was the exposition.
We had to rewind because we were confused.
Because she's talking about both the birthing process, how some people are immune, and how she like had it in her head, and then there's like possible translation errors.
This is where there was some clunky where it was just weird prepositions, I think, that I was like, wait, I don't understand what I'm reading.
Yeah, also the rules that the granny was saying in the car. I think
there was some weird...
The thing about like not bringing clothes with you, it was like you have to bring... It was weird.
Yeah, there's some
Shutter, double check that.
Yeah.
Maybe go back.
Yeah.
Do a little second pass on
localize that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go to the spot where they think the thing fell out of the truck, and they realize there's a school nearby, and Mirta's like, it's definitely going to be somewhere around this school because evil loves children and children love evil.
Yep.
Kids be creepy. So they go to this school and they look through a window, and there's a bunch of weird little kids sitting in the classroom just staring at nothing. It's very Village of the Damned kind of. I mean, it's creepy kids. We love them. They're all there ready for creepy kids school.
Chronologically, before we get to
yes,
the school,
I was gonna mention
we have Jaime's adventures.
Yes, Jaime's adventures in babysitting,
Baby saving,
but not really.
Not really,
because he finds Sabrina.
He's driving and he sees her walking on the road, and she's got the kid in her hands.
She's carrying the Santino, but
he speeds up, and you see it out. Like, past him out his window.
Dude.
As he passes her.
She is eating this kid's brains like he's a fucking novelty popcorn bucket you get from Disneyland.
It's scooping the brains out, eating them.
It's really.
Having a little road trip snack.
It's disgusting. Like, it's so fucking gross. So he just immediately just put the car in reverse, drive backwards, and then just runs her over. And then what does she say to him?
She's on he runs her into a tree. What? And I don't want to skip over this fucking imagery of her walking with this kid's limp body. Yeah. The top of his head is gone, and she is eating his bread. It is fucked.
Yeah, it's really gross. Like, it really is like she's eating popcorn, but it's her child's brain.
He slams her against a tree, and she's on the windshield. And now she's got a hole in her head, and her brains are fucking coming out onto the windshield.
And what does she say?
She says,
him?
like, you told me you loved me. So it's implied.
I think it's definitely implied that they've slept with each other.
Yeah, that he had an affair with his brother's wife and maybe sired one of the two kids.
Possibly.
Who knows? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Because, I mean, maybe that's why he wanted to go get Santino, if that was like his kid.
I don't think that's a crazy leap in logic. Especially because the wife also brought up earlier that she cheated on. Like, it's brought up for a reason, I think. Who's to say? I don't know.
Sure, her brains are fucking coming out all over the place, man.
Yep.
It's crazy.
This movie really is quite graphic. Like, I don't think we can, and we are very desensitized. So I just want to properly sell how prepared I think you maybe need to be.
It's done so well.
It is done really well.
So fucking good.
And it's just because it is like kids and animals. Like, it's just, beware.
And like, I'm sure some people are like, what the fuck is the matter with you? Why are you so excited? Like, it looks so fucking good.
It's just because it looks good, and there is something about horror. And in this interview with Polygon, he talks about working with kids in this movie and how it was a fucking nightmare because he was like, we couldn't even have like fake blood on the kid actors. Like, there were very strict rules. He said the kids and the kids' parents were all like totally gung-ho, but it was just like literally just, I think, child labor film law type shit that made it really hard to. So that's what makes this even more impressive, I think.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Back at the school, where the kids are still alive, I guess.
I think, they're alive. I think they're
alive.
just
they're just
in a thrall,
possessed.
I guess.
Yeah, because they're just all lying to him. These kids are like, Uriel is in this barn, and then a little girl is like, no, Uriel's
at my dad's
house.
house.
And Pedro, he's fucking done with it.
Dude, he fucking wails on this little girl.
He opens the truck door and knocks her to the ground, and the sound effects
really
incredible.
hard. I'm sorry. It's just, you don't expect it. And then he just starts punching this little kid in the face. And it's like, it's not funny, but also I think because that's so taboo that it is very funny to me. Because you don't see it every day, folks. I guess because it's also, she's a creepy kid. She's not just a normal little kid. This is like a monster.
I think Mirta says they're not children anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like why it's funny in the second Ring movie when I
haven't seen it.
Oh, I think, is it still Naomi Watts in the second one? I think it is, but she fucking throws Samara down that well. That's my only memory of it. She goes, I'm not your fucking mommy, and throws her down.
That's from the second one?
Yeah.
I've seen that clip.
I think that's from the second one. Because I remember seeing it in theaters back when I saw literally every movie in the theater.
Mirta's like, okay, if they're trying to get us to go elsewhere, then the body's here. because they're just trying to get us away. And like,
yeah, so like it's
checks
definitely
out.
here.
And
yeah.
they find it beneath a little, shitty kid auditorium stage. Like every parent's worst nightmare, you gotta go there and just sit there and fucking watch the recital.
Christmas
Your
concert
kid's
or
fine, but it's all
whatever.
the other ones that you don't want to fucking sit through.
Yeah. So they're prying apart the stage, and they see a bunch of dead adults under there.
Yeah, with lime.
They're covered
on
in
them
lime to mask the smell, and they figure,
decompose
okay,
the
the
body.
rotten's got to be under here somewhere, and they pull
Yeah,
a body aside, and oop, there he is.
Yeah, there he is. Our good friend Uriel.
He's
just
still alive.
And yeah, Mirta's like, he's still alive, right? And Uriel's like, yeah, kill me, matalo me.
Kill me. And so Mirta is assembling her contraption.
She starts taking out. It looks like a cartographer's equipment.
It
and
does.
it's the
This
stuff.
looks like a fucking I don't know, something you would see on like a conquistador ship
Yeah.
to navigate. It's all gold. And
It's all the stuff that they found next to that half body. It's a cleaner's
from Jeffrey
equipment.
Combs's office.
Yeah. She's like assembling this. It's like this thing is like in the 13 Ghosts house.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
It's just like
100%.
whirring around.
And
yeah.
then meanwhile, she's just like she's yelling at Pedro to rip apart this stage faster. It's like, lady, and he's hauling at, he's dragging these bodies
It's like,
around.
Get his body up here. And it's like, dude, he's a big guy.
This is a
Guy's
big boy. Yeah.
He's trying.
He's a big boy. And he's stinky too.
He smells bad. He's probably slippery.
Yeah.
Slippery when wet.
Meanwhile, there's one little girl who
I think it's the one who we beat, right?
It is. It's but she's crying, and she seems maybe like she is not like she was maybe I don't know. I think he like she's still creepy, but she's so convincing, and she's crying, and you think maybe she's legit. I mean, you don't actually think that, but I can see how in the moment he thinks maybe I should listen to her. And
well, she's like, there's an axe
there's
in
an
that
axe
office.
in this office over there.
And Mirta's like,
Because he's ripping apart this stage with his bare hands, right?
And Mirta's like, don't you fucking do it. Don't you leave me here with them.
Yeah.
And he does. He goes to grab the axe. And this is the moment that so many people online complained about. But like,
I'm sorry, Mirta was just yelling at him to go faster.
He's
and,
trying to tear apart this thing with his hand.
maybe there's an axe in there, and that'll help us go faster, Mirta.
We've already seen how much of a hothead he is when he fucking used his truck door to knock this little girl to the ground. Like, this guy is not a hero. He's trying to be. He's not. He's not hero material. So he goes into this office.
Yeah. And guess
That
what?
axe ain't there.
99% of people, not hero material.
That's true.
Not every person is Ash. Sorry, most
You
of
got
us
that
are
right, baby.
most of us are this fucking guy. Sorry, that's just real life.
Yeah, he goes in the office and like the fire axe box is empty.
It's like a fucking it's like
zooming
a
on his
cartoon
face.
outline where the axe is missing.
Yeah, and then they lock him in the
The
office.
kids lock him in there, and then man, they kill the fuck out of Mirta and just drag her body away.
Dude,
and it's
no, they're dragging her when she's still alive, and then they're like hitting her in the head with a
yeah.
hammer while dragging her.
Yeah.
They're just like, eh.
Oh, and don't worry, you get to see it.
Oh yeah, it doesn't cut away. This movie does not pull punches,
This
man.
movie does
and
not.
with her last looks, Mirta is just like looking at Pedro like
I
fucking
told you.
I fucking told you.
Yeah.
So he gets out of the office, and he's so mad again. Hothead. He he looks over at the stage, and Uriel's bald ass head is popping up. He's looking like the Jackbox guy.
Yeah,
Just like bald head popping out of his
like,
fucking hole.
Hey man, hey
man, you want to
I'm-
kill me now?
Yeah, let's fucking dance, dude. I'm still here.
And Pedro's like, yeah. And he just
he
takes
grabs that golden instrument and just bashes
beats his
this
head in.
guy's
I
head.
think it's another
in.
practical
It's disgusting.
head that he just
This
caves
fucking's
in.
head. Yeah, it caves right in.
Yeah.
it's gross. And oops, that
does it.
That basically he cracked an egg open because this
Bloody little yolk baby comes
bloody
out.
demon boy
Just a little naked demon
emerges
boy.
from the rotten body. Just this weird little naked boy
Covered in blood.
He just and then assembles his demon army of kids.
He leaves like a handprint on Pedro's
Yes, he
forehead.
kind of marks him.
Some people hypothesize that Pedro's possessed the entire time.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe possessed in a way that's where he's immune and just spreading it maybe.
Interesting.
I didn't get a chance. I didn't have enough time to like read more into that theory. but I would be interested to hear more about it. But like, and so when the demon does that, instead of killing him, it's more of a like, thanks, good job.
I read that as like a thank you. I kind of saw it as more of like it was almost like a blessing or like
now you have to live with this shit.
Yeah,
Instead
that
of giving you
too.
the
I mean,
sweet
it's
relief of
literally you can't like not being able to watch. It's like fucking Macbeth.
Yeah,
but
he's
on
unable
his
to wash
forehead.
it off later. Yeah.
But I kind of almost it's almost like a holy kind of like forehead marking. Maybe just that's the Catholic in me, but I think of like the smudge on
Like
Ash
Ash
Wednesday or
Wednesday, yeah.
something. But I thought it was maybe like in this new world, you are marked as like the one who
caused it.
Yeah.
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 This little naked demon boy just wanders off into the woods with all his
into
little
the
children.
morning sun with all these
Great
creepy
sunrise,
kids.
Great sunrise shot.
They're off
It's a-
to do.
It's a brand new day,
But
and the
this-
kids are in charge.
Yeah, it is. It's like this is the comeuppance of all the adults, like all these kids just banding together and getting their weird revenge on all the adults because that's all the adults in the stage of the school. It just seems like this is kids being like, you've all fucking failed us and this is what it's come to, kind of, which again kind of calls back to what the director said about specifically being very disturbed and inspired by these stories of children getting cancer in these communities where these pesticides were using and like adults failing them. Yeah. And so this is in a weird way kind of a revenge movie, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we got some loose ends to tie up. They go back to Pedro goes back to the house, the brother's house, he has Jair, his other son. And by the way, we did miss earlier while the brothers are gone.
Oh yeah, this was a great moment.
This is a cool moment. This is like middle of the night. The brothers are gone.
The brothers leave with Mirta to go handle their business, and so they leave Granny
Jair
at
with
home
the grandma.
with
Even though
Jair.
at this point they're pretty sure that they know that Jair's possessed, but they're like,
Mirta told Jaime, Pedro doesn't know.
"Are you sure?"
I'm positive.
Okay,
Pedro
so-
is left in the dark about Jair's
left, and so up to this point, Jair is nonverbal. He vocalizes,
moans a lot.
He can't move on his own, I don't think. But there's this where the grandma is sitting by herself, and Jair just walks in, is like,
through the front
"Hey,
door.
Grandma,
I'm thirsty.
I'm
Could you give me some
thirsty,
tea?"
and also it's cold." He's talking just like a teenager, and it's such a jarring change after what you've seen this whole movie, and you can tell Grandma's fucking terrified.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know what to do with it, and I think she knows.
So the end of this movie, they have Pedro and his brother Jaime and Jair get back to their house, and so Granny's not there, and I'm like, what did they think happened? Did they just think she went missing or what? I don't know. But Jair is back to being nonverbal and back to being in his
The
regular
other little
state.
kid shows back up.
Eduardo, the barn kid.
The kid they left in the barn.
And
remember
he's still in that
him?
barn. I guess he liked it.
And he's like, so I lied a little bit. I started hearing voices right before I came to your guys' house.
Isn't he the one who killed the cleaner?
He admits he's the one that killed the cleaner from the very beginning, and
Jaime's like, "Where's your mom?"
And he goes, he's like, "What happened to my mom is probably what happened to your mom." And so then we cut back to Jair, who is eating ice cream and then starts gagging and choking.
And Pedro's like, "What's wrong, son?"
Yeah, slow down, champ. Like, you're eating that ice cream too fucking fast.
I know it's good. It looks green. Maybe it's mint chocolate chip, the best flavor.
Oh, I
of
thought
ice
maybe
cream.
it was like sherbet or something.
It could be like sherbet, but it could also be the best.
But he
ice cream
takes the
flavor.
spoon out of his mouth and he's still gagging, and then oops, there's some blood, and then there's hair.
Lots of
there's
hair.
just a ton of hair. It's disgusting.
He's fishing out this clogged drain, dude. It's hair.
No, it's so.
It's jewelry.
And then we see a very telltale piece of jewelry. There's been a lot of close-ups of it the entire movie. And it's one of those like gifts you order your mom from QVC, where it's a necklace where it has a little figurine representing each person in the family.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those. So that comes out of his mouth.
And then one of the coolest and creepiest shots of the movie is it's a shot of like it's a shot of Jair like looking forward while his dad is like looking at everything, and Jair's eyes just flick over to
briefly
his dad
flick over to his dad
in a very knowing glance, and then
in a way that
forward.
they don't do. Javier always staring straight at, like, 1,000-yard stare this whole movie, but that last shot, his eyes just flick up and then flick back down. It's very creepy. And that's it.
No, there's a shot of Pedro coming outside and crying.
Front yard,
and then Jaime being like, yeah, I don't know.
Yep. Bad ending, sad ending. Not a happy ending for anyone in this, except maybe the army of demon kids. I don't know. That seems kind of like it's fun. Hanging out with them, probably not actually. They sit in school all day, it looks like. Well, now they're off in the world doing God knows what. This movie is very, very good. Big recommend if you haven't watched it. But again, it's graphic, but it's well done. It does not feel like it's in bad taste whatsoever. And in fact, I think the reason the extreme violence works is because ultimately the director is coming from such a place of empathy for children, and children that are abandoned by the system and let down by adults. And that's why this movie in no way does it feel like cruel as much as the things that are happening in it are cruel. The message and the storytelling of this movie is in fact like very thoughtful and not mean at all.
Yeah. And I also heard that he said he wanted to make a horror movie for horror fans and not for the mainstream.
Great.
And that's what he did.
More of that, please.
I don't think Russell's going to be watching this one.
No. It's good, but, understandable.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. I'm not sure what we're going to do next week. I can maybe get Horror Survivor ready.
Yeah, next time. We got 2 weeks.
Or next time, sorry, yes.
But in the meantime, you can listen to Scream Dreams, too. Right now, it should be available since I think they're releasing it like an hour after we release ours, and I'm pretty sure this episode's longer than an hour. So, yes. So check that out again. On the YouTube channel, I think, but also where you can find podcasts. But then for us, you can find us on social media at DeadMeatJames on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram.
And I'm at Carebeck, CareBecc on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want merch, deadmeatstore.com.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out the store in a while, do it. There's lots of cool stuff.
There's a lot of new stuff.
Also, just, again, shout out to Fran and Duncan, dude.
We did it.
Good
job, guys.
They lost a lot of people with the Halloween rules. A lot of people were like, what are you guys fucking doing? But you know what? Aside from that, guess they knew what they were fucking doing.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
The history of labor conflicts and negotiations is not a smooth road ever.
Never.
But you know what? We got what I'm hoping most of what.
Yeah, we don't have the details out just yet, but it sounds good.
Yes. In the end, history will forget the weird demands over Halloween costumes and remember the bigger picture. So, yeah. All right.
I saw someone tweeted about like thanking us for like always standing by labor and doing the right thing. And someone responded to them like, not exactly. They were seen in pictures with people who were dressed as struck work at Halloween. I was like, what the fuck? We can't even be in pictures with people? No, fuck off.
You know how many beers I had at that point? I can't remember.
I'm not policing other people's costumes. Fuck off. What?
Oh, Lord.
Whatever.
That's
love
so
all
funny.
you guys for listening to this, and thank you so much for being fans.
Yes.
We got some cool stuff coming up on Dead Meat.
Yes.
Promise.
All right. Labor organization is cool. Unions rock. Unions are good. We did it, folks. Love it.
Yep.
Until next time, I'm Chelsea.
I'm James.
And this has been the Dead Meat Podcast.